I met Fernando while commuting south on the One Line after work. He recognized me from a previous trip where he'd seen me interviewing someone else. Fernando started by claiming not to believe in anything, but it turned into a conversation about the value of remaining neutral. I thought this was interesting given what I learned during our chat about Fernando's history with activism. As it turned out, this history may have had something to do with Fernando's perception about where he may or may not have been able to have an impact. My name is Nick, and this is Conversations on the Coast. Hey, good afternoon.
Interviewer guy. Seen you the other day.
Interview? Oh, you saw me down here before.
I seen you on the light rail last time.
Oh,
last
cool.
week, coming what do you call it? Northbound.
Awesome.
Talking to a lady.
Oh, is that something you'd be interested in trying out?
I don't know what are we doing.
So what I do is I talk to people about something they believe, probably something that they think other people should also believe. And then we don't really talk about the belief, but we talk about your reasons and justifications for the belief. We explore your epistemology, which is the way you decide or the way you determine what's true.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I believe anything.
You must. Well, maybe you take a skeptic's position, which is the skeptic says, I can never believe everything 100%. I want to believe true things, but I always, examine my beliefs, right?
Yeah.
Or you could say that you just haven't thought about it.
I haven't thought about it.
I'll bet you have things that you
There's
believe.
a lot of things, but I can't even think of what I would believe in.
Yeah.
Let me think here.
Yeah, sure. And I'll tell you, I'm putting a moratorium on we should be good to other people.
Yeah.
Because this is kind of like the softball thing that most people bring me. And I've had so many conversations about that. I feel like we've plumbed that topic.
Yeah. I don't know. I always just try to think of like my daily little things to kind of laugh about.
Yeah.
I don't know. Let me think here. Believe.
Yeah. Anything, were you raised with any like religious or spiritual or supernatural beliefs?
No.
Or do you have, any unusual political beliefs or strongly held political beliefs or anything like that?
I'm just trying to think of. I'm very neutral. I go with it, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Kind of can blend in with the people and in any subject doesn't really matter to me.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, we could talk about that. Like, first of all, my name is Nick.
Oh, Fernando.
Fernando,
Yeah.
Good to meet you. So, why do you think you tend to go along with people?
I think it's just because I like to hear what they like, their philosophies of what they think of stuff.
Okay.
I mean, I think that's really maybe like because a lot of people have a lot of opinions about things, right?
Yeah.
And you're just saying. I think I always like listening to see what their side of it is, and sometimes then it makes me think a little bit more about going, wow, that is an interesting angle of looking at that way, kind of thing. I don't know, yeah. And
I feel that because, one of the reasons that I enjoy doing this, right? I didn't invent this, right? This is a process called street epistemology. There's a whole community of people who do this various places.
Okay.
But I enjoy doing it because I do like hearing from people, and it kind of helps me reflect on my own beliefs as well, right? And on my beliefs. So why is it important to you to hear what people believe and kind of, take that in?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's another thing that then I just kind of like maybe it's just because I like absorbing what someone thinks, so then later maybe I can use it on something else. Oh yeah, I remember talking about a person. They thought, whatever. I don't even know. I can't even think of stuff. I'm like, it's one of those ones that kind of lets it go.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of like an example of like listening to someone. Maybe like a fanatic, like a sports fan, right?
Sure.
A sports fan that's like very into his team, right? Like it's Chicago Bears or Seahawks, Niners. And sometimes I was wondering like, okay, you're such a big fanatic, a fan,
Yeah.
right? And I'm like, I'm always just neutral. I'm like, if I go to a game, I'm like, all right, I'm just not going to wear the colors. I'm going to stay neutral on it.
Yeah.
I'm going to enjoy the festivities, having beer in it with that group of people.
Nice.
And just act like I'm the super fan with them as well, right?
Cool.
And I don't know if it's just sometimes because I'm going, well, and I think I just did this just recently when I went down to Arizona, and my nephews are like very like big fans of the Niners, right?
Okay.
So then their little kid, he's little,
Yeah.
like 2 years old. I brought him my first Seahawks
Ah,
fan shirt, right?
nice.
And then I was like, and I know they're very fanatic, so then when he was like, come over here, little kid. I got him over here and I put it on him and I wanted to see how long it was going to take them
Yeah.
to notice it. And I got my good photo with it. I started laughing. And they're like, oh, that's the only time you're ever going to see him wearing that. Right? And I thought it was funny. Then he took it off, right?
Yeah.
And it was one of those ones I was thinking, well, I mean, it's just a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Like, it's not in my mind, sometimes, especially like little kids and other people, it's like they're molding the person, not making him, they're creating their person, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, if I held two shirts up here, which one is he going to go for, right?
Yep.
Is he going to go for the one that looks like a jersey, or is he going to go for the one that had like little kids and little, I don't know, I forgot what it had on, like Sesame Street characters or something on it.
Yeah.
Like, what's he going to go for? Is that
Right.
they kind of like, they're inventing a way, like what they're molding him how he is, but it's like, well, they should be just kind of, in my mind, going, let the kid be his kid, right?
Right.
But most people don't want to. But
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good example, but who knows?
So it's interesting because what I'm starting to wonder is there any downside to remaining neutral? Like, are there any places where you think it might be a negative for you to remain neutral?
I don't know. I guess I don't know, because I know my wife's very like political, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
And like when like political stuff, right? Because you
Yeah.
got the left and the right and all that.
Yeah.
And I got friends that are right, like
Yeah.
hardcore. But I was like, and I go, I think it's always been for me in my mind, because political's another one, is I really never just bring it up.
Mm-hmm.
I really have always just in my mind stayed just like, why didn't you ask him all those questions? Like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Because then it might just paint another picture in my head of the person.
Yeah.
When it's like, at the time I met you and we became friends, I really never asked that.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe that's why sometimes with myself, I really never ask
Sure.
enough a series of questions, because I'm going off of the person and kind of feeling the vibe off the person.
Right.
And then sometimes it could change the way, like, sometimes I might just take it that other little direction of going, maybe it's a little crazy, but.
What situation would have to exist for you to feel like you needed to take a stand and not remain neutral?
I mean, I guess if let's say they're talking politically and start going off a tangent, I mean, at the end, I mean, everybody's got their own personal opinions.
Yeah.
I think after that, I'd be like, I'm done talking, I'm out. I'm like, I don't want to sit here and argue.
Right.
When it's like, life is short in my mind. It's like, I don't know, I like having a good time and having good conversations, and all of a sudden having this negative, and then you're leaving all pissed off.
Sure.
Right.
Do you think there are other people, like if you think about people that you know or people that you know of, is there anybody that you think there might be negative consequences of them remaining neutral or you remaining neutral?
No, I never thought about it. I mean, it could possibly, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I've always been like most persons for like the people and all that, right?
Yeah.
Especially like, I mean, labor unions and all that, right? I'm very positive on those because I've been around it for a long time.
Yeah.
And so it's always been one of those ones of, I don't trust too many people out there.
Yeah.
Because I've seen so many cheaters and all this stuff. So I'm always instantly, if I can gauge like a person's BS and all. I don't know, just like I don't know if it's like a little sense of thing that, oh my, this person's BS or, right? And like listening to them and it's all their talk, but it's just one of those ones is, I've always been like, actually people personally, I've said always like to make sure people are getting, in my mind, getting, paid their correct wages, getting, not mistreated. If someone's mistreated, I'd always like, especially, like Latinos and minorities, people, I've always liked to help them out and make sure they would always have that advocacy to go, no, you need to stand up for yourself. This is what you need to do. Because a lot of people get taken advantage of.
Okay.
And I don't know if that's going to some other little tangent, but it's just always kind of in my little mind of stuff.
So if you were in a situation where there was an option for you to speak up and it would keep someone from being mistreated,
I would totally
right? You think you'd speak up in that? You'd take a stand in that case?
It must be out or something.
Yeah, it is. It is really.
I haven't seen it like that in like. Almost feels like a New York subway.
That's crazy. Well, I'll follow you if you like, but
get in there.
we can keep going. Yeah.
I've never seen it this busy.
This is probably the most
I mean, for
crowded
Seahawks
I've
game
seen
of
it.
Sounders or something.
Yeah, this is crazy.
I guess.
I think there's room for you there.
Skinny myself.
Yeah. Yeah, this reminds me of when I was riding the trains in Hong Kong.
There you go, right? We're taking a bus in
Yeah.
Thailand.
Yeah.
When we're taking what's it called? Being in, wait. We were in Thailand leaving from, was it going to Phuket to, wait, no. Phuket to, I can't think of where it was. I'm drawing a blank. And we were in that's what it was going. It was going from, we landed at Phuket, and then we were taking a boat to go to Koh Samui.
Mm-hmm.
And the craziest thing is I remember going on into this boat, and I'm going, hey, go, which boat are we getting on? I go, oh, it's that one right there.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay. And all of a sudden they start loading people up. And it's going, there goes 100 people, there goes 200, there goes 300. Before you know it, the thing was so packed.
Yeah.
You know, I like, oh, we're going to sit in the back of the edge of it, right? We're going to sit in the back with all the, the locals smoking their cigarettes, hanging on the boat, but there's nothing wrong with it. And it was just, in that time, it was kind of like the monsoon season in its own little way.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some huge swell, like 20-foot swells, and that thing was like this as we're going. I'm going, man, we're going down.
Wow.
Right? But then at the end, I'm going, well, I'm going to trust the locals, right? Because they're just chilling with a cigarette in their mouth, just like chilling. Going, hey, we're used to this. But I'm like, I'm not going to be sitting in the middle of that boat. That thing goes down, like, we're done.
Yeah, crazy.
But then after that, we're just like, I'm not taking that boat back.
So we were getting to an interesting place when we were talking earlier, right, where you were talking about, like, there might be times when people would be mistreated, and you would speak up at that time.
Yeah.
So how do you judge when you think that speaking up will have a positive effect and when it won't be important? So how do you know when? Like, do you believe that most of the time, if you don't act up, it won't have an impact?
I guess some situations, but then others, because for a number of years I was a rep for the unions.
Oh, okay.
So get a lot of that with employers and everything.
Yeah.
All those crazy little controversies.
So if you became convinced that as a result of remaining neutral, there was something that, there was a negative consequence, would that change your attitude towards that?
It could.
Towards your neutrality?
It could, possibly.
How might you know?
I think if they're very convincing, I guess.
But how would you figure it? Like, do you want to know what the results of your actions are?
I guess if it was something they were talking about at the end of it, I'd be like, oh, well, that sounds pretty good.
Yeah.
I would look straight up after I was done. I would be looking it up.
Uh-huh.
Like I would instantly like, I'm going to check back this thing. Or I'd be check back in like right now. Someone was talking like, oh, hold on. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I wanted to see like, hey, is this true or not? And if it was, I'm like, oh, wow, keep going.
Right.
Like, tell me about it, right?
Yeah. But like with political beliefs, like right now, a lot of people
it's an interesting time.
Oh, it's a very interesting time, right? And how you vote could actually, I mean, do you believe that how you vote in this election could impact other people's lives?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
I've always been saying it, one of those ones, if you're going to speak your mind and say every little thing, but did you vote?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. Well, then, you're of no vote. So that means you got all the opinions in the world, but you didn't. The only way to make the change is to go vote.
Yeah.
Right? It's a number in, whatever you call it, what's that word I'm trying to say? The people can make the difference.
Right.
And people don't realize that. They don't realize it's the numbers.
Yeah.
And if you can be in a crowd of, like, wow, this thing just barely passed by 3 people.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if you wanted to go down, you should have bought 4.
Right.
And people don't.
Yeah.
And that's, I think, the bad thing of a lot of stuff is this world. Like, people like to talk, but have no actions.
Yeah. So how do you weigh the value of remaining neutral versus the value of maybe saying something that could have a positive impact in that way? Like getting that one person to vote who wasn't going to vote?
I don't know. I guess it just always depends on the situation.
Yeah.
I guess it's one of those, I don't really think about it. It's all in the moment of it.
Okay.
right? It's they're trying to say, wait, don't trying to be proactive, not reactive,
Yeah.
but being proactive in like a quick way. I guess you're trying in that way. That
Right.
makes sense. Because a lot of people may be reactive, right, on stuff, and oh, you should have thought about that one, right? Right, shouldn't have punched him. You should have waited.
Yeah.
That was the wrong person.
Right. Right.
Kind of. I don't. Maybe that's
Yeah.
my own little thought of it.
Oh,
I don't know what more to say about it.
cool. So what? I'm still interested because it feels like maybe there's a benefit to you of remaining neutral, and you've mentioned that by remaining neutral, like you have friends with people, say on both sides of an issue. Do you think that? What do you think the impact of your neutrality is on them?
I mean, if it's someone I just were barely meeting,
Mm.
right? I mean, to me, it's just a encounter
Mm-hmm.
that I just met. And like, oh yeah, that person was interesting, or that person's, that was, whatever they're talking politically, beliefs, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, that's their opinion. But if someone I know, I guess, oh, well, that's your opinion, whatever, let's drop that subject and move on to something else.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess that's how, because I'm just not one of those ones you can push my button and piss me off.
Yeah.
I don't really care what it is. You're not
Yeah.
going to piss me off.
Okay.
It could be something, but it's like, but I can let it go. And so a lot of people can't,
Right.
right? That it's like, this drives them crazy.
But there's a line for you. It sounds like, and again, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but it sounded like there's a line for you where maybe you have a perception that lack of action is going to result in mistreatment or somebody they're being harmed.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Right. So how do you determine where that line is?
I'm seriously, I don't know.
Can you think of an
I
example?
guess I could tell you an
where that's-
example like earlier, right?
Yeah.
So I was in the parking garage at King Street.
Yeah.
And I was getting ready to leave to go to my little meeting. And I literally, someone get out.
Oop, excuse me. There you go. Crazy day on the train.
It's a free day to ride the train.
Yeah. All right. So you were in the parking garage.
And so was it right? I was in a parking garage, and then I was on a phone trying to get like some stuff worked out. Like there's some issues with this app and all that.
Yeah.
And then so I was standing there, and I was in the handicap zone, and a lady was coming in the parking garage, and she goes, "Move!" I'm like, "All right." So I moved out of the way, and I moved into where the valets where they were to get their cars, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I moved there, and the lady's like, "Move!" She's like honking and telling me to move, and I'm going, I'm out of the way, and I look at the valet guy, and I'm going, I don't know what she's talking about. I go, if she's gonna do anything, she's gonna run me over and hit me into the wall.
Mm.
And in my mind, then she comes up, and I was just like, I go, wasn't in your way.
Yeah.
And I literally said, in my mind, you need to learn how to drive. If you can't make that turn, you're thinking I'm in your way. I'm like totally like, I'm here. The car's supposed to turn way over here.
Yeah.
And she's like, literally honking. And if she she wanted to come on and beat me up or something. I'm like, easy there, lady. You're in the wrong. She didn't say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
She's just like, whatever. You're in my way. I'm just going, no, it wasn't. You need to check yourself.
Yeah.
Now the night was I was laughing because I was just like, I think your kids seem a little embarrassed right here.
Yeah.
Of your little actions and all that. I'm going, whatever. You're in the wrong. I wasn't in the way. Whatever. I'm out of here.
Right.
I mean, I slapped even though she people like continue to jabber. I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah.
I was like, and she was in a total wrong. It just made me laugh.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does, like something like that. It's just, because at the same time I was on the phone, the guy's like, what's going on there? I'm going, this lady cannot make the turn. She's like almost hit me. Wow. But,
So in that case, did you feel like you were threatened by that?
Oh, not. I mean, it was like a threat.
No, because her car wasn't actually near you, right? But
yeah, it was just like she was. But it was like one of those ones, right? This is the parking space.
Yeah.
There's a line, the handicap. There's like where the wheelchair it's like always highlighted blue, the ADAs, whatever.
Yeah.
Or blue or whatever that color is. And there's still that space. It's like you're turning in and saying, get out of the way, and honking and screaming and yelling, going, when I physically was not in the way. Mm-hmm. And the lady is assuming I was in the way.
Yeah.
At first I was in the middle. I was talking on the phone, but I
Yeah.
moved. I was, oh, sorry, and I jumped out of the way.
Yeah.
But then the lady got all aggressive, and I was just like, oh, yeah, whatever.
Okay.
And that was just me. I'm just like, she didn't
Yeah.
learn how to drive.
Right.
I go, straight up. You didn't learn how to drive. Lady didn't say nothing. I go,
Okay.
I'm sure your kids are all embarrassed about it as well.
Yeah.
And everybody else is laughing.
Yeah. All right.
About, I don't know if that's a good example.
Yeah, I don't think, I mean, it doesn't seem like the stakes were very high there,
No.
right? It was just, but it is kind of an interesting idea. It's almost like a drama played out in front of you
Yeah, it was straight up.
without pulling you in. Yeah.
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 Just start like honk, honk, yell, all kinds of stuff.
Right.
I'm like, on the line, I'm not in your way.
Yeah.
I kept going, I'm not in your way.
Yeah.
But she just kept, she's in her car away. She can't hear me what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
But she's just like screaming out the window. The
Yeah.
kids are just like,
That's crazy. But getting back to a situation where, if you can imagine a situation where, what you say may have an impact on someone's life either positively or negatively, do you still feel like you would remain neutral in that state?
maybe.
Okay.
I just like said, you would have to give me an example, and I would tell you. So,
Yeah. Well, I'm
Like-
trying to.
and I couldn't think of an example of,
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to bring politics up. That's just always weird.
Well, I mean, like you mentioned, like Latin Americans,
Wow.
right? Like how much do you think about, like, for example, border bills and political attitudes towards immigrants and that sort of thing?
Yeah, I mean, like the whole border thing, I think is in my mind, they're always talking about, build the border, keep them all back, all this little stuff. When it's
Yeah.
like, at the end of the day, I don't care what you do, there's still people coming across.
Okay.
If the government ever wanted to actually do something,
Yeah.
then they would,
Okay.
but they're not,
Yeah.
right? And at the end of the day, it's like, I think they just need to do another amnesty,
Mhm.
right? But then you get all this BS out there saying, certain people saying, right, there's rapists, there's murderers, and all this
Right.
stuff coming
Yeah.
across.
Yeah.
When there's actually no facts, right? I mean, yes, there's one or two here.
Mhm.
I mean, they're everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's just one of those ones that's like, now it's laugh because I grew up on a border and all that. And it's like, there's this huge fence, and I've seen it. But it's like, well, you just built a fence for just the mirage. It's kind of like an old Western, right? The front of going,
Yeah.
there it is. But then I just walk another 100 feet and it ends. And I can just walk right around the damn thing.
Yeah.
And it's just, and that's what it seems like that border
Right.
fence is. It's just, it only goes so far and it ends.
Yeah.
Because the money ran out, right?
Mhm.
And it's just like, I think there's just a lot of stuff out there that just kind of makes me laugh.
So would I be overreaching to say that perhaps you feel like if you did act, it's not going to make a difference one way or the other?
Probably not. I mean, in some cases, maybe.
Yeah.
Depending on situations, I guess.
Somebody coming. Yeah, we got her. Here we go.
Sorry.
Sit right there.
Oh, she's going out.
Oop.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh. Okay, so maybe a neutral stance in
Because I think a lot of it, too, it all depends on. I mean, I could be in a ring crowd here yelling all kinds of just propaganda,
yeah,
but at the end of the day, I'm just yelling it. But if I have no political pull
Right.
or power,
yeah.
it's at the end of the day, it's nothing. I'm walking out this door and it's nothing.
Okay,
But if I do, right, in certain situations, then I can make a difference, right?
right.
I mean, that's
If you could be convinced that your actions or your words had an actual impact on the world, do you think that would make you more likely to not remain neutral and to take a stand?
I mean, I've done it, I guess, like I said, for several years. I mean, I was a rep. I mean,
Yeah.
in from negotiating contracts in Seattle,
Mhm.
helping them backing workers. I mean,
Yeah.
I had a lot of respect. I mean, I think I still do, right? Because I run into people like I ran into today, some of my old members, and asking me like, "Oh man, I haven't seen you in a while," because there's certain stuff. Because I would, stand up for workers' rights and all.
Yeah.
That. Like I said, I was a rep for 15 years for
Mhm.
the painters, or obviously, whatever, IUPAT, because
Okay.
painters now like trades.
Nice.
And so I think myself, in my opinion, have made a difference in that whole.
Okay.
And I'll say Western and Eastern Washington,
Right.
because I represented both sides.
So if you
All work, workers and all that.
if you have those experiences where things that you did and said had a positive impact for people,
Oh, it has been a lot, yeah.
how does that experience affect your feeling now that when you say something that it might not have an effect?
Probably just because it needs to be. I think I need to be in those situations, whatever it is.
Yeah.
To get across to the right person.
Okay.
Right. I can talk to anybody here, and it might, like I said, it might not go anywhere. Because I've just always noticed is like.
But how do you know?
I don't know. I'd have to find out and ask who they are.
Yeah. Why do you believe that that you're not going to have an impact on someone?
I don't know. I guess it just maybe just one of those things I'll always stuff. If it was ever going to do in actions of like saying fighting for workers to get more higher wages. I mean that's myself driving the whole membership to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or just like certain little things.
Columbia City.
Is your position why is your position like as part of an organization what impact does that have on your ability to make an impact? I don't know if I'm really asking that the right question the right way, but I'm just still kind of touching on this idea that you seem to believe that when you're not in that position. So when you were in that position with the union,
mm-hmm.
you recognize that your actions and your words had impact to a lot of people. But now you feel like your actions, your impact maybe don't have that.
I think they still do a little
but
bit.
There's probably some impact. Yeah. So why is there something about the difference there that makes you feel like in your daily life you're not having an impact?
I see stuff in my daily life and all that. I'm just thinking like if it's something like making changes, but I'm always just thinking because of labor, right? Because I've been in labor for a long time.
Yeah. And
always seeing all the certain actions of going, ooh, they should have never did that. That was a bad one. That was smart. Wow, they, like Boeing, right?
Yeah.
And seeing they're going, we're blowing a contract down, we're going on strike. And what do you do? Like you look going, wow, they are all out there.
Yeah.
Right. When there's I've always looked like the labor unions is you got your weaker ones and you got your strong ones.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I always came from the weaker one, but when it came time to do certain stuff, we would, right? But it was hard. When you see others, I'm going, that's who you need to look up. See what they do. It's like, see IBEW, electricians, or see the plumbers, or see these. I go, when it comes time to stand up and be in solidarity as a whole team, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're all there. They're all there fighting for what? Wages and better conditions. And in the weaker ones, it's like, you can give them $500 and it wouldn't show up, right? They're just like, oh, whatever, nothing's ever going to happen. I go, that's why it's never going to happen. Because they're saying that.
Yeah.
All right, and I don't know. That's what I said. I guess I've just been in that little world of labor.
Right.
So I've always stuck in, and it could see is like when someone come up, like a certain bill, right?
Yeah.
Passing, let's just say, what's the one that's interesting? Just passed.
So, I just want to kind of get back to what role does that experience in labor have in impacting your neutrality now? Does that have an impact? Is it a large part of the impact, or do you think it's more like...
Because I've seen it for so long,
that
it's kind of like, that's not going to do much, whatever. Okay. Someone's speaking up, and that's not. But it's always seen it there. It's going, all right, now we know what we need to do. We need to go to Olympia. We're going to all march to Olympia and fight for this House bill, this.
Yeah.
And we all stand for, right, that everybody should get paid or, sick leave or...
So there's this one domain where you have just a ton of experience and probably a really well refined sense of what's going to have an impact and what's not. Why is knowing that in that domain a good reason to believe to form beliefs about the impact you're going to have maybe in another domain? Like, for example, your friendships or somebody random you meet on the train.
Yeah, I guess it's, I don't know, maybe it's one of those ones just from dealing with like crazy contractors and driving, and the normal ones as well, and workers and just all sorts of different people.
Yeah.
That it's kind of molded my little way of thinking how I think of people.
Maybe.
Okay. Right? And then a lot of times I'm like, be listening. A lot of people like get around, they always start talking about, labor unions. They're very strong here, right?
Yeah.
But once you cross them out, they're very weak.
Right.
Right? And that's just whatever. Call it an hour and a half, and it totally changes.
This is me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm in the next one.
Cool. All right, Fernando.
Either way,
it's been a pleasure.
hopefully there was something. I'll see you again on here, probably.
Yeah, when you see me again, shout me out. I'm Nick, but I'll also respond to interview guy.
Yeah,
Cool.
I'm just Fernando here.
Have a great day. All right, take care. You've been listening to Conversations on the Coast, a series from Washington State featuring civil conversations using street epistemology to explore what people believe and why. Find out more at streetepistemology.com.